Hello, Tested Team. My name is Joey Famelli, and welcome to my editing bay. Now, some of you may know that I do a good amount of camera tech and filmmaking tech videos for the channel, and one way that I like to test that stuff out is by taking it out into real-world environments, under real projects, shoot with it there, then come back and make a video about it for you all. I think that's the best way for me to wrap my mind around all this new filmmaking tech that has been coming out lately. Typically, I have folks that are doing a lot of projects, documentaries, music videos, commercial work, and I can sort of jump onto those projects. That wasn't the case the last couple of months. I didn't really have everything lined up. I had the Cook SB3 lenses, which you just saw me do a video on the Tested Team channel about. But I needed to take those out in a project to really understand them, and so I decided to make my own. I went out to the local pinball arcade. I've been obsessed with this pinball arcade that's near my house. And so I went down there, chatted with the owner, and made a little mini doc about that place and the pinball hobby in general. That's the video you're about to see. I don't typically share that stuff on the Tested channel, but I thought, well, why not? Why not try it out? We'll share with you guys a 10-minute video. You can watch it if you're into the Cook lenses. You want to analyze the frame, analyze how that stuff looks in the documentary settings. You can do that. I think if you're into pinball arcade, the pinball arcade scene, you might really be into this this video as well. Either way, 10 minutes long. Check it out. Stay tuned afterwards. I'll talk a little bit about the making of that piece, the editing of that, kind of how I approach it, and how I sort of put that stuff all together in one day. It's essentially a one day documentary video. So please enjoy, and I will see you in 10 minutes.
I think I hit a shot.
Please stop shaking the
So if you tilt the game, then it'll give you a warning. It'll say, don't do that, otherwise you're gonna lose the ball. Oh shoot, okay, that's a nudge right there. See, and then that's called trapping a ball right there. You can hold, it's all about, pinball is all about control. So we have all these yellow buttons. I don't think anybody would understand it. Like just running an arcade, no one will understand like all the stuff that you have. It's like having kids. No one will understand how to like birth a arcade. And then you have to grow it up, you know what I mean? Like I feel like we're in year 2 right now. And it's like, okay, like what are we gonna do this year, year 2? How do we grow? How do we evolve? How do we survive? Hi, my name's Adam Lamb. I'm the owner and mastermind of the Rewind Arcade here in Sebastopol, California. So the Rewind Arcade is a arcade bar with a 20-tap self-pour beer wall. We have a pretty large selection of pinballs here right now. The goal for the arcade is to bring people back in time and make arcades more accessible and give people an experience of feeling like you're 10 years old again. When people come here, that's what we do, and if they feel that, then mission is accomplished. Pinball is going through a renaissance right now, so it's like there's really cool things. Like there's just so many cool games coming out, like John Wick, Jaws, X-Men came out. This is the first time me playing this game, and this is the game that just literally was built a few days ago at the factory in Chicago. So this one's cool. The flippers are moved to the side a little bit, and we have a little mini flipper. It's kind of based upon a game called Gold Wings and also Spy Hunter. The thing that's cool is we have a head that articulates up. We got a captive ball at the top. We also have a hand that will smash down and a lock on here. So we have a bunch of things flashing right now. So that head is flashing. I would go for that head. But I feel like I'm about to drain. Ooh, something happened there. So it looks like I made this Sentinel head mad somehow. Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, did you see that? Oh, that was definitely cool. So it has some pretty cool shots in this game that Jack Danger is kind of known for. He's the one who designed, that's a magnet right there. See that magnet? There we go, okay. So we have a lock here and it's supposed to like, see it kicks it back. That's a very unique feature that I've never actually seen in a game yet. Oh, that was cool. I think I got a multi-ball. Oh, I got a multi-ball. The reason why like I pour like a lot of my energy and my soul and, you know, all my heart into this kind of venture is that it's the arcade has always been a sanctuary for me growing up. You know, like we're growing up in the 80s and 90s, it's like arcades were just everywhere. And to me, it was kind of like a sanctuary for me to get away from, like, you know, at that time, there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of conflict at the time. A lot of secondhand smoke, a lot of drinking. So that's why it's kind of, I always like try to give this place like I want people to have a real experience. I want to put like pinball machines in the spotlight and arcades in the spotlight and make sure everything's working. If it's not working, then we deal with it. People say it all the time, but if it's not pinball, we don't break. There's just so much, like if you look at a machine, like if you look at this Twilight Zone, you can see the underneath of it. There's so much like smashing going on. If you take the glass off one of these machines, it sounds like there's like a war going on. People love that like mechanical, like kinetic kind of feeling. I mean, luckily you guys can see that, you know, Steve is like the chief, I call him the chief engineering officer here. He's like the pinball savant, I would call him. He's, you know, he's really, a lot of the people that are here that give their time and soul and their energy is the reason why this place exists. We have a league, so we run a 10-week league. We are now in season 4. We also do a monthly tournament. There's like people that I've like met in like through the pinball community or just pinball league and tournaments that, man, we're literally like legit like family now. A lot of pinball machines have like a skill shot. So if you hold the left flipper button down, it'll tell you to, like, you know, you plunge the ball, it'll ask you to shoot a shot. So we're just gonna do that real quick. So I have this left flipper down, I'm gonna shoot it down, let it go. I'm gonna try and hit these blinky shots here. I didn't get it, or let me see if I can get it. Oh, I hit it, okay. So that happened, you got a skill shot, so you got something with that. This is also good because it also gives you missiles. So missiles, you press this button, it'll progress the mode.
Good evening,
it's pretty cool.
My name is James Bond.
Every pinball machine is different. So each one has a different designer. Like Keith Elwin designed these 2 games, Iron Maiden and Avengers. He is considered to be like one of the best, or the best pinball player of this era. But he's also one of the best designers. These 2 games, there's just so much to them. Like to be able to beat it, to be able to get farther, to be able to score points. There's so many things that are very difficult to do. So it's not like you have to go through just progression, but you have to also be able to know, like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to hit this point. This is because everything is sequence based, you know. And then they have this mode. I need to hit this mode, and it's like you're playing the piano, and you're like, oh, okay, here we do this, we do this, we do that, because you have to be able to play through the whole score, right? So you have to know, like, okay, this is happening next. This is happening next. This is happening next. So those kind of people who are like musical like that and they love playing pinball because they have like these cool things, they do all this thing. It's very visceral feeling. It's almost kind of like an art, I would say. There's so much that goes into it or has gone into it, and how deep it gets. Like the rule sets are so deep now. Like if you compare it from the 80s and 90s till now, and they're just getting crazier and crazier. All the games, they come out with like a code. Like X-Men's coming out with like 0.8. So the game is basically just forever being worked on as long as Stern Pinball wants to continue throwing, you know, resources into developing the code. Of course, you can't change the layout that's there, but you can change the rule set. Like if you do this, you do that. If you do this, you do that. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a bunch of flashing lights. I think we want to get up to the top. We also have a little ramp over here you can control. We go left and right and do different things, which is pretty cool. Okay. Okay. So, oh, I missed it. Oh. All right. When people see people having fun, I think it's contagious. People seeing other people happy, that's also very contagious. The arcade has done so much for me when I was a kid. The reason why I do it is just kind of give back. I hope that we grow. You know, I really do hope that we grow. And I'm focusing on, selling pinball right now. So that's kind of the next step of things. And then if, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, honestly. I hope that we can grow to more locations and do what we do, exactly what we do here, do it in more places. It basically brings people a lot of happiness and a lot of joy. So when you're playing multi-ball, it's kind of just basically managing chaos. There's a lot of chaos going on right now. This game is pretty cool. Oh, no. 19 million. Wow. This is a very new experience. I got a replay.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. Let's talk a little bit about the making of that project. Now, like I said earlier, this was a one-day project. This was not something that I came up with on my own. This was actually something I learned from Philip Bloom. He's a filmmaker, camera reviewer, documentarian. But he did some workshops a while back that I was a part of, and really learned about like this one-day approach to finding a subject, shooting something for a while with that person, sort of discovering the story, cutting that, sort of making this like a faster process, doing these little mini pieces out of subject material. And so that was the approach I took with this. I've done a couple of these in the past. It's not something I do often, but it's a really good kind of refresher as in terms of a filmmaker or a documentary filmmaker to do this kind of stuff to, keep up to date for when you do those bigger projects and you need to add more resources and more time. This is almost like a little exercise, a little breather. So opening up the project here, let's talk a little bit about the actual production of that. So like I said, I reached out to the owner. We talked a little bit about it before. I told him what I wanted to do and set up a day to come in there. Now you saw that video is about 10 minutes. I think I shot with him in the interview section of the portion for about an hour. I think I have about 50 minutes of discussion that then gets whittled down. But first off, I needed to figure out sort of how I'm going to shoot this, right? I had two cameras with the Cooke lenses. I did a wide shot and I did this sort of side profile piece. I knew from being in this arcade that there were going to be a lot of lights, a lot of color, a lot of darkness. And so with these practical lights, I didn't want to bring too much large source stuff. Like typically when I think about lighting a subject, lighting anybody who's going to be interviewed, I tend to keep a close eye on the background, the set design, what's happening already in the scene. And that sort of dictates what kind of lighting system I'm bringing. For this case, I knew I didn't want to overlight him. I didn't want to remove him out of sort of the arcade itself. I think if you come to a place this colorful, that has a very specific high contrast look to it, if we look at subjects as large soft sources, high key on that person, then it'll remove them out of that area, and like that will sort of take you out or just not look as natural. So I wanted to take a little naturalistic approach. So I used one soft source in the front. I have one big light shining through a grid cloth, hitting him on that key side there on the right-hand side here. And then I have a color tube over on the left giving him the blue. I don't typically do color backlights like that, but I figured it's pretty motivated in a pinball arcade, right? So you got a lot of cool colors in there. Might as well shine some of it onto him and really, like I said, immerse him back into that environment while exposing him correctly, while keeping him lit. Side shot here, you can see that's with an 85 lens, or whatever the 80 equivalent of the Cooke lens is. Some nice bokeh on those lights there. And then this was like a 32 or something wide. This was the FX3 camera and the Canon R5. I typically approach these kind of videos in like a three-phase thing, a three-phase operation. So I have an interview portion. I came in, like I said, I sat down with him for an hour. It took about 2.5, 3 hours for that entire setup and breakdown to commence. And then I knew that I was going to want him actually playing pinball. So I call those like the actualities, like him or a documentary subject sort of doing the thing that they are talking about doing. And then like a B-roll session. So 3 sessions. And that's typically a format that I tend to work in when I'm doing these on my own. It's very easy to plan for, easy to digest, and like very easy to explain to them what I'm going to do. I'm going to be here for 3 different sessions throughout this day doing these number of things. And so you can see a lot of B-roll. Here's the actuality. So him playing pinball. Here's the B-roll session. Came back that night during a tournament. And those 3 components, I knew I could make an assembly make an assembly video. That would roughly be right. I guess this would be about 8 to 10 minutes, given the hour-long conversation. And that's sort of the hardest part. I think that's the biggest chunk of time. I think the edit took about 10 hours total when it was all said and done. And a lot of that is just taking all that raw footage. You can see I have all this raw footage, and then just dividing it up. I have all my B-roll here. I have the actualities here. And then this is just a very cut up version of the conversation that we had. And so I find topics and subjects and sort of clump them together and make it sort of just to get my head around the sound bites, what he's saying here versus there. And if I can combine those and sort of craft the 10-minute presentation that he's going to give to the viewer without manipulating it too much. Just really cleaning it up and making it focused. Focus is the big key here when it comes to this kind of stuff. After I make this sort of selects, basically, an organization, then I go into what I call the radio edit. This was something I learned from, I think, an NPR guy who basically just takes all that raw footage or raw audio, whatever you have, and just putting it together to make something that just sounds, the story sounds good in your head, right? Like, as video folks, we can get really wrapped up in visuals and the visual aspect of storytelling. That's very important to do, I think, at a little bit later of a stage. But I think that first portion of making this all sound cohesive, like a cohesive story, is important. So I put together the radio edit. I basically just don't think about the visuals, don't think about like real fine tuning, just putting that stuff together so that the conversation and the dialogue all tells a complete story, tells a complete compelling story. From the radio edit, I'm usually rolling. At that point, I'm going. The hardest parts for me are the raw parts and the radio edits, and then it's just about getting that B-roll, cleaning that stuff up, putting it all in in appropriate situations, and then getting those actualities. I like I said, the 3-phase approach to this: the interview part, the storytelling part, the actualities, and the B-roll. I don't necessarily like to put those all like a big chunk and like segregate them like that. It's not like an interview and then a big chunk of the actualities. I like to find moments in between to sort of break up some of those talking points. And so you'll see there's like 3 moments here. You can see that here in pink. Let me close up here. These areas in pink are where the actualities hit in. So he's telling a big part of the story here, and then we're seeing him, play the game that somewhat has to do with some of that stuff that he mentioned earlier. So this is like sort of the part that comes with a little bit of experience. It's impossible for me to like explain how to do this. It's just, you just sort of feel it out. What kind of video do you want to make? This is a format that I really gravitate towards when it comes to documentary filmmaking and documentary storytelling. So this part goes through many iterations. I didn't save all those iterations, but I'm just auditioning, what I call auditioning things. So putting a chunk here and a chunk there, auditioning it. How's it sound? Let me move it around a little bit. Let me tighten this part up. And then you can see I put like placeholders here for coverage, because after the radio edit, then I go into the assembly where I'm actually putting this stuff down, putting the coverage down where it belongs. I'm feeling good about the edit, the story, the cuts. And now it's just peppering in all of that color, all of those pieces that are going to complement the storytelling aspects of it. And that all doesn't take too long. Again, like at this point, I'm seeing the goal line, I'm feeling the video, and I'm just putting together the best story I can within the 10 minutes with the best visuals. And then usually at this point, I'm like sharing with people, hey, watch this. Let me know if this makes sense. Let me know if this is good before I go into like the final assembly, which is really just fine tuning, adding graphics. And then as you can see, the color pops in now. Now I usually jump out to DaVinci Resolve to do all my color work. This is probably a little more stylized than I normally do. There's like a Rec 709, which is like I'm not looking at this. When I'm shooting, I'm not looking at this grayish desaturated footage. It actually has a little bit of color built in from the camera manufacturer's LUT or color system. But I decided to not use that for the final color and actually just do my own custom work in DaVinci. I wanted it to be, I wanted a very specific skin tone. I wanted a very specific look to that when I was putting together the final assembly. So I did all of that in DaVinci and then popped out one big master file back into Premiere, where I then added my little graphics about what this place is. And that's it. That's how I made a 10-minute, that's your one-day documentary, 10-minute video about, whatever subject you really want to do. I think if you are a person who is studying film or wants to learn more about storytelling, this is like this tool of like wiring your brain to go out and shoot these little things with what's accessible to you, I think helps keep the gears well oiled and keep your mind set into this like creative state. And it's just like I said, it's a great way to learn the gear. It's like I feel like I know those Cooke lenses now 10 times better than I did by just shooting them in the shop or shooting them in the tested office. Just roll and focus, seeing how they look on figures and stuff, I think helps to identify some of the clinical characteristics of these lenses, but really taking them out and like holding them, using them, swapping them out, like learning them on every step of the way for this documentary project, I think helps out a tremendous amount. And again, it's a great way to sort of, be curious about what's around you and find stories in everyday things. In this case, I had an idea of what I wanted to cover with him, but being able to like just sit there and chat with him for an hour, we uncovered new ideas, new storytelling aspects for this that I thought were important, and like that is a very fun and fulfilling way to shoot film. So thank you guys for checking out this video. I might do more of these depending on how you guys feel. I might do some more on some pizza shops. I might stick with this local scene and like just shoot a bunch of little local pieces about these local places that I go to, of all sorts of different varying interests, depending on what kind of like gear I get to play with. And I can share that more with you in the future. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them in the comments section. And we'll see you guys next time on the Tested Team channel.